Here.
Newberry.
Here.
Not on. No, this is not on. The speakers.
Speakers.
My fault.
I got the mouse over here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
I'm here.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Now enter into a public hearing on the adoption of the final budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. Greg?
Well, at a minute a page, it'll only take 58 minutes, so I'll start with the PowerPoint real quick. Property tax revenue does continue to be affected by recent issues and trends. And a portion of that is short-term. If you recall, with the hospital, the county, and tax increment financing, we had to collect additional tax increment financing for a year. So hopefully some of that is a short-term effect. The budget does continue to address capital project and equipment needs. In coordination with our CIP and equipment planning efforts, it maintains service levels, and in fact, we have the new SRO position coming on board as well. And it maintains a strong general fund balance at over 20%. The levy rate is proposed at $10.30 over the $10.10 current levy rate. Water and sewer rates are adjusted. Enterprise funds, water, sewer, road use tax funds that have low fund balances but are meeting operations. And as noted earlier, we did add a school resource officer, which is funded 25% by the city and 75% by the school district. Next page has a tax rate history. Past 10 years, our average has been roughly $10, and but over 15 years, we're within 30 cents of where we started in 2011, 2012. General fund balance is at 21.73% at the end of next fiscal year. Important to have a strong general fund balance, as we know, to allow for those emergencies, one-time expenditures, and who knows what's going to happen during the legislative session as well. Fund balance comparison is on the next sheet. Shows you the general fund at the end of the fiscal year, hotel motel at the end of the fiscal year, road use, local option, water, and sewer. Please note again, road use and sewer particularly. Water is up slightly at just over 90,000, but our general fund balance is standing good. Property tax valuations. Just a reminder, this year we saw residential valuations decrease by a little over $7 million. Commercial property valuations decreased by a little over $14 million. Industrial property increased by a little over $264,000. The next page shows you that in much more detail for your information. The next page talks about the impact of taxable valuations at the hospital. I'm not going to go into additional detail. That's not new information. The tax levy itself is broken out on page 10 and shows you how we get to that new proposed levy of $10.30. 810 general fund liability or insurance is just over 89 cents. FICA and IPERS 63 cents. Employee benefits 42. Debt service levy 25, and emergency levy is not instituted in West Burlington. On the next page, you'll see two of the proposed property tax bills, and the main reason that these are here is just to show you the potential impacts of either one of these pieces of legislation. Obviously, or most likely, that neither one would be adopted as is. Obviously, the House adopted some legislation today. They're still in negotiations. But I wanted to mainly point out, from my perspective, if you look at the city levy under each one and what it does over the next several years. House File 2745 takes us up to a high of 1151 in 28, down to $8 over time. Senate File 2472 takes us from 1010 down to $7 in a much $8 and then $7 in a much shorter period of time. I don't think anybody really understands the impacts of the legislation that's out there. There's 4 bills. Another one was passed today as well. Piper Jaffray has reviewed the legislation. It's an ongoing issue. It's a challenge. I don't think we're really going to understand the impacts until something is adopted or they take a deeper look at it. And I'd encourage them to understand the impacts of that legislation before passing legislation. Budget issues and challenges. The backfill will be gone in another 2 years from the previous phase out of the backfill and property tax legislation. Rollback numbers are on the next page. Residential was where we were impacted largely this year. And you see residential and multi-res saw a decrease of 2.9% in valuation. CPI was another factor for us. We typically use September as we're preparing the budget as a comparison from year to year, using U.S. CPI, Midwest CPI, and Municipal Cost Index as indicators. 3%, 3.1%, and 3.89% for Municipal Cost Index. Ongoing issues and challenges. Again, that residential rollback decrease of 2.9% was significant. Commercial and industrial. While the rollback stayed at 90%, that first $150,000 is taxed at the lower rate, and so there is an impact there as well. Multi-res elimination is from 23-24, the backfill, CPI, and balancing our CPI needs, timing, and funding sources. Ongoing challenges. However, we are working and continue to work our capital improvement plan, 5-year outlook, and CIP. I'm not going to read through everything here. The things that some of these things have are year over year. We do have a cost of living per contracts at 4% budgeted in this year's budget. TIF admin fees, I do want to highlight, that is one of the items under discussion. Those TIF admin fees and the fee that we pay Greater Burlington for economic development may, under one of the proposed one of the proposed pieces of legislation would go away. And that would have a direct impact on the general fund. Health insurance was at 3%, or just under 3% this year. Proposed liability insurance saw a decrease of 5.3% this year with the switch to EMC insurance. Rate adjustments are on the next page. At this point in time, pool admissions, we have no change. I guess before we open, there was one item that's come up a few times, and that's non-resident rates, if that's something that we want to consider. That is not budgeted, but I have been asked that question. Garbage rate, no change. Recycling rate has gone up 10 cents. Water rates go from 35.09 to 36.10 for the first 3,000 gallons. And sewer rate goes to $13.50 and $18 from $12.15 and $17. On page 18, we have several examples of $100,000 home and $200,000 home in commercial properties. You'll see decreases even at the $10.30 in each of those, but note that those do not factor in increases in assessed value. So make sure that that's clear. That those are not that is not factored in. That's on an individual home. Without that factored in, there is a decrease in each one of those properties year over year. Budget summary. We have a balanced budget. Revenues exceed expenditures. capital projects presently budgeted, we have the Forest Main design, final design, Mount Pleasant Street design, Agency Street Trails design, and along with those 3 intersection improvements, sill coating and HMA crack filling, water main replacement, water sewer study, the water quality initiative at the trailhead, and hopefully an amendment for the parking piece as well, and associated grant. Hoping to hear back anytime now. And then, obviously, amendments to addressing the successful grants, stormwater, sanitary sewer, trails, et cetera. And we have the TIF GEO bond coming forward. I'll have the final scoring to you here very shortly. Needed a couple additional items tonight. It's getting harder and harder, more challenging to maintain existing levels of services within the community, but I think we've put together a good budget that meets those needs. With a reasonable fund balance in the general fund to meet any emergency needs as well. Pages 20 through the end is supplemental information. I'm not going to go through that. I'm happy to answer any questions on the pieces unless there's something in particular Angie wants to point out in there. But there's a lot of good information. I would encourage our staff, council, mayor, our residents to take a look at that information. There's much more detail on the items that we just spoke about, from water and sewer rates, projects, historical information, comparison statewide, valuation history is in there as well. And then there's supplemental and general fund and each of the enterprise funds as well. There's a lot of good information in there that I'm happy to take questions on, answer, or discuss, but encourage you to take a look at that information. There's a lot of good information that we provided there for your edification and information and the public's as well. So with that, I'll simply end by saying thank you. I think we have a good process to get. It seems like it's challenging, more and more challenging each year to put together a good budget. It was challenging, exceptionally challenging this year. But I do want to thank everyone involved. I think it takes a team effort. Starting with city department heads in the fall, and working through the budget presentations and the budget sessions with mayor and council. Special thank you to our finance director, finance manager, Angie Moore, for the hours on pulling the information together. This is our most important policy document that's adopted by the council on an annual basis and provides a roadmap for the coming fiscal year. It is a living document, though. It's a guide, but things can and do change. As we know, we'll have a budget amendment for council consideration at our next meeting. I think that's being brought forward. But our budget is and has to be flexible to accommodate today's challenging municipal environment. So with that, thank you. I appreciate everybody's work on the budget. I think we have a good process down, and we are ready to start the next fiscal year.
Thank you, Greg. Any discussion items with Greg?
I just have one question that's not related to the rate or anything. Information-wise, I'm looking at the hotel motel fund balance comparison, and I'm seeing that go from like 78,000 to 267,000.
So we had budgeted to use, this year, some hotel motel on the trail, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Sign, or we're using?
The sign, and we did not.
Okay, that answers that.
We'll carry it over.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's still in there.
thank you. Yeah, that wasn't adding up for me.
We'll carry those funds over to spend in the coming fiscal year. We're talking about the park, like get the committee back together and bring back some ideas. I've talked to a couple firms as well about finalizing that picture. And then I have four grant applications in on various aspects, so.
We should hear on some of those fairly soon. don't necessarily want to push the council on this, but if you have no further questions, I would end the public hearing on this.
There's a lot of information in there, so happy to answer those questions anytime, so.
Seeing no objections, I then will close our public hearing on the adoption of the final budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. And with that, I'll move into new business. Consider a resolution adopting the city budget for fiscal year 2026-2027 and setting the levy rate. Entertain a motion?
Your Honor, may I
Yes.
speak to the point? This is where you'll need to make a motion or make a motion and then adjust, or if perhaps you're interested in waiving council procedure and having discussion before you make a motion. I mean, there's a couple ways in which council could choose to proceed. You can make a motion to adopt the budget at the proposed rate, or an alternative rate, and then open it up for discussion. You can amend your motion, or you could waive your council procedures and have your discussion first. Just wanted to throw that out. But this is where you will need to make a decision on the actual levy rate.
On the rate of 1030 or lower then, right?
The proposed budget is at $10.30.
But, okay.
So if you were to move to approve the budget at the proposed $10.30, you could do that, or you could move to approve it at an alternative rate that would affect the general fund. That 30 cents, that 20 cents additional adds about $30,000 plus or minus on there. So you could make a motion, have discussion, or you could waive and discuss.
Well, you always know I'm good for a motion, so motion at $10.10.
Well, I don't agree with 1030. I only did that to give us some flexibility. That's too steep of a jump.
Just so that we're clear on this, if Andy has a motion on the floor at this point, I would need a second on that particular motion. If I don't get one, it will die, and then we go back to have another motion after that.
Sorry, Your Honor.
So I hear no second on that, so that motion dies. I would entertain a different motion unless you want to amend and go directly to discussion on this.
Might I suggest you amend your rule and just go straight to discussion and then form a motion?
I think that would be acceptable.
Council, if council were to
Willing to
agree?
do that, to just talk about this ahead of the motion?
Please.
All right. All right, anyone want to start on this?
I guess I'll take the first jump then.
Okay.
I know we're going to have to, what concerns me is I know 1030 is way too high, and we've been sitting pat for a while, and you can see everything's increasing. And I know it's either going to be this year or next year, we're going to have to do it, you know? But I think we should do it at a very minimum amount if we're going to increase it, because I don't want to make no big jump, you know, a leap. No one wants to raise taxes, but no one wants, you know, especially on a big increase, no one wants to do that either. I was thinking 10, 15 myself, but that's, you know.
Halfway between the two would be 10, 20, yeah, 10, 20.
10, 20?
10, 20. Mm-hmm. Therese?
I think 1030 is too steep since we're going to raise the water rates and sewer rates in combination. That's an awful lot to hit on a single-family income.
It is.
I'm happy with 1015.
So we're at 1010 now, I'm proposing 1030. And I guess kind of like Ringo said was, we're gonna have to do it this year or next year. And if we do 10 cents this year, and 10 cents for the next budget. I mean, that does get that 20 cents in 2 years. And I also agree with you, Teresa, that kind of give the people a double whammy. Probably won't look good, won't sit well. I know it'll take a hit to the budget. It doesn't seem like it's putting us in danger, I guess. But, I mean, I would say, in my opinion, to be, do 2 10-cent increases instead of jumping at 20 cent altogether.
Kathy, are you there? Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm kind of on the same path as them. I think the 15 is probably our best bet.
So the budget is funded. It's $30,000. This is a bit of future proofing. So that's really what it comes down to. We don't know what's going to happen with the legislation. You may have to raise it $1 next year. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with legislation. We never know, which is the strange piece of this. Our budgets used to be adopted in March. Now they're adopted in April. The legislature doesn't act until after we adopt our budgets. The system doesn't work well in that regards. And so this discussion was about a bit of a future proofing. Our water and sewer rates, the sewer especially, is driven by SRF and those loans for capital projects, several of which were not of our own design, I'd say, but were mandates. The last two wastewater treatment plant improvements, not necessarily the lift station. The lift station was more of a need. The next SRF that we have, potentially with the force main project, would be a TIF would be a GO SRFs funded with franchise fees, so we won't have that extra added requirement on our sewer rates that our current SRFs do. So that'll help us maybe be able to level out those sewer rates and ideally decrease them at some point in time or restructure them. But
Can I ask a question so I understand your comment? Why do you think we have to go up 20 cents?
Because the cost of everything has been increasing over the years. And I'm not saying go up 20 cents. I'd rather just go to 10, 15.
No, I'm sorry. From both of you, I thought I heard that you felt that, hey, over between now and next year, we have to go up 20 cents.
I think, oh, you mean for next year, we didn't increase?
Yeah.
Because you just see the products, everything's increasing in cost. Everything we've done is at a cost. And we've been at 10 for, and before that, we're lower than that. And you could see where we've taken out, and that's the reason why.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a specific reason
trying to
you were
confuse
saying that.
anybody.
No, I just wanted to make sure I understood.
I definitely agree that we do not do 1030. Obviously, we did that to give us time to think.
Yeah.
I have one comment I'm going to throw out there. Your capital reserves are low. There's not a lot of money in the reserves. The fire department needed, I don't know, Jess, you can touch on this, for something coming up soon. There's $390,000 in there, and you can't buy half a fire truck for that.
Before we started the process, I sent in a bunch of questions, and that specifically was one of them. Hey, do we need to up this for that purchase? And I was, the document we got back was no, this
we're on track to fund that engine. Yeah. By the time it's due, by the time it's indicated in the capital equipment replacement plan.
When you look at those rising costs, and we look and go, well, we've got the same rate or basically the same rate we've had for 20 years, and that's because the home valuations continue to go up. And so even at a 10-10, it's still over a 5% increase in tax on your neighbor. So even though we look at that number, well, the valuation went up. So it's a 5% increase at the same rate, right, this year. And so, yeah, there's going to be years where inflation costs and our costs go up more than what we're doing, and there's going to be years where we get up ahead. And So that 5% this year is going to continue to average out over time, as it has the last 20 years of council standing up here and staying strong at a specific number, or as close as we can get. When we got the budget in front of us this year, it was at $10.10, paying for everything that we needed to pay for. We added only one item of $25,000. We cut $7,500 on cameras, and we cut $33,000 in water that was just an error, and we cut $90,000 in sewer that was just an error. So you take all that together, and we saved $105,500 during our process that one day. And I see you shaking your head because it's in a different budget, right?
Different fund.
It's in a
Yes.
different fund. Well, we've got 12 pages in the back of this book of transfers.
Yes.
So there's 12 pages of transfers. So you can't say, well, we can't move things around from one fund to the other. Well, we've got 12 pages of doing that, including out of the two funds that we talked about. We're moving hundreds of thousands of dollars out of those funds. So to me, just because we need 25 grand, or actually 18,500 for the SRO to pay for it, well, we saved 105,000. We just need to move the bucket. So, and I know anytime staff wants to do that, they find a way to do it. You know, it's pretty easy to do. And we're moving a ton of that out of IT already, out of water and sewer into IT, into the general fund to pay for that. So it would be easy to move those numbers around to cover that 18,500, just to move a little more out of, I wouldn't move it out of sewer because of where our fund is, I'd move it out of water. So I would stay at the same 1010. I think we've got a great budget in front of us. It was all done at that number. I don't think we need the extra money. We don't have a reason for it. We had no reason during our budget for it. No comments of we need more money. Good plan. We don't need to worry about the fear of it. Let's just fund what we got at 1010, move forward.
I got to talk about transfers.
Yeah.
You have to fund appropriate transfers. So if you recall, a couple years ago, we took, for IT costs, we took computers, software, et cetera. We dumped it all into IT to better be able to track those expenditures, rather than having them just burst amongst each and every department. So you transfer in from water or sewer to pay for the software that used to be in that individual budget. So it's going to pay an appropriate cost that used to be in the sewer fund, it used to be in the water fund. It's simply in the general fund now. So you're transferring a percentage into the general fund to cover a cost that was originally budgeted out of water and sewer.
Completely agree, but
I just want to be real clear exactly what we're doing. The expenses that we transfer from an audit perspective are covering water expenses, sewer expenses, are covering those costs. It's just because it's now being budgeted out of the general fund. Just want to make sure it's clear that those are appropriate transfers. So
I agree.
Okay.
I just think you could find another appropriate transfer of 18,500 pretty easily.
I try to get creative. I think we've been pretty creative. We got a good budget. For me, it's more about future proofing, and my concerns are with the legislation.
Yeah.
And then our fund balances in those enterprise funds.
That is always going to be a fear. Every year, what's the Fed going to do? What's the state going to do? To me, let's make a budget that plans for what we can plan for, and we'll deal with those when they come. That's why we have that 20% fund balance.
You want to make a motion?
Why do you look at me?
Because you're the senior member of this council.
Yeah, that doesn't mean squat.
Well, then maybe I just say I trust your judgment.
I'm going to make a motion that we set the budget at $10.15 for our levy.
Second.
Motion and second. Okay, we've had our discussion. I would call for a roll call, please.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
No.
Lees,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2, consider adopting a Board of Adjustments decision to grant a variance for a fence at 401 East Wheeler.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on this?
Normally, I'd probably have a problem with this. The only reason we're recommending that you approve it is because it's replacement of one that was damaged.
It's a new one. A fence?
The fence? This is, look. No, this was damaged. It's replacement. It's not a new one.
This one.
This is on the,
I wanted to ask a question while you're doing this. Jesse, the last time we had one of these, you had driven by and you gave your recommendation that it wouldn't cause any traffic issues that you could see.
No, that, it's good. The biggest traffic issue is that garage that sticks next to the alley, coming up and down the alley, coming out onto Winter Street, but no, there's no issues there.
Greg, there's no real objection from the city on this then?
no, there's no objection from the city on this one.
Well, in that case, I would say we'll call for a vote on this.
You can do a voice vote on this.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Carries, thank you. Number 3, consider the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado vehicle for the police department.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion on this one?
This and the next one go together. So this was the first replacement. We're just doing the Silverado instead of the Tahoe. For transportation purposes, it's also cheaper. The next item, you'll see the disposal of multiple vehicles. The chief proposed to replace his vehicle, which is been having a number of issues earlier as well. To help offset those costs, we have the items that are under consideration in item 4. So the truck purchase will be paid for after July 1st.
This is a brand spanking new car, no miles, no nothing?
Yeah, it's 2024. They have several sitting on their lot up there, Carl Chevrolet. Like the statement, or the, here says that they are pretty much fully equipped. We just got to transfer some of our equipment over, the radios and computers and that. 3-year, 36,000 mile, 100,000 on the powertrain for warranty, just like the other Tahoes that we've got. This is just a pickup instead of the Tahoe. And then we're looking at moving Eldon's truck over to the Mark, and he'll replace his pickup with another pickup, and then if everything else goes good, replacing my Dodge Charger that just had a power steering pump module or whatever it was for $4,000 and just some other mechanical issues with it. Trading that in.
Now, we're gonna need a topper for this truck?
We're not going to do a topper. We'll put a cover over it, just not a topper. There's a couple different options that we're looking at. Cage or tonneau cover that goes over the bed that can be secured when we lock the truck. A lot cheaper than topper, and it looks a little better too.
This is the one you're talking about, you can throw all your gear in the back of it and stuff?
Yes.
Both of them, actually. This one, Eldon will be able to transport the gear in the back, but then the chief's vehicle as well will be able to take fighting equipment as well.
Yeah, I don't put my I try not to, and I haven't yet. I don't want to put my bunker gear in the back seat of my squad car. I'd rather put it in the back of the bed, out of, the compartment.
So Chief, when you had to respond to my fire on April 2nd, Was you at the city hall here? and then-
I
then you
believe I
swapped
was
out?
here at City Hall, went to the fire station, and then got into my bunker gear, and then responded out to your,
So in that situation, you had a truck, you would just gone straight.
straight out there, yep.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote.
We can do a roll call.
I will. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, consider a resolution authorizing the sale of a 2014 Ford Explorer, 2007 Ford F-150, and Engine 2 on Gov Deals.
Motion.
Support.
Motion and support.
On engine 2, is it just sitting around collecting dust? We don't use it at all?
No, we used it out to training ground very little. We were looking at trading that in with a new engine purchase here in a couple years, so whatever we have left over, with it being a 1997, it's just creating yearly expenses of maintenance, because we still get the oil change in it once a year. We tried to take it out to get the oil change this year, and when we started it up, the alternator went out of it, so we're gonna have to replace the alternator in it before we put it on Gov Deals. But it's just not any use for us.
Can you sell it as is, or how much is the alternator?
I believe the alternator is a couple $1,000, but I think we'll get more out of the return if we can get it up running, because then the people that buy it will call or put in lower offers on it because they'll have to have it towed, and I think if we have it up and running, we'll see a better return on cost.
Okay. Call for a roll call this time.
Lees,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry. Newberry,
Kathy?
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion carries with 1 abstention.
Sorry, I couldn't come off mute.
Okay. Number 5, consider a resolution approving a revised 28E agreement between the city and the West Burlington School District for a School Resource Officer, SRO program, and superseding resolution 2026-20.
Motion.
Second.
Support.
Okay. As I understand, this was something that the school asked us to do.
There's just the section on privacy, there's language in there, what, FMRA, something like that?
FERPA.
FERPA, yeah, FERPA, the FERPA language was requested to be included, no other changes, just privacy information related to the school.
Just, yeah, students' rights, releasing information to us.
I'd like to make one very, very, very small amendment to this, that one of your articles is numbered wrong. The very last one, we go from Article 10, 2-year review, Article 11, duration and termination, and then back to Article 10, mutual hold harmless. So that needs to be 12.
Yeah.
Would you make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right,
Aye.
so that amendment is in place. I guess we need a roll call on this. It's a resolution.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion carries. Last item, we need a resolution fixing a date of a meeting of public hearing on the receipt and approval of proposals for the disposal and development of certain city-owned real property in the West Burlington urban renewal area. I have a motion for the,
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second.
That's on June 3rd, 2026 at 10 a.m.
Thank you.
June 3rd.
June 3rd, yeah. 10 a.m. huh? Roll call, please.
Newberry,
Aye.
Diaz,
I,
Bovert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you.
Quick note, Your Honor, on the development packet, I may include some more detailed information in there, with some more specifics, but on that as well.
We've come to the end of our agenda. Would entertain a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.